Reverse grid time in the GB3 Championship as round 9 sits ahead of us. Drama so far this weekend has seen a championship lead balloon for Nikita Bedrin, but with a circuit that is difficult to pass at and the grid being jumbled up, the potential for further changes in the title race are definitely on the table. One race already completed today, 2 over the weekend, but let's remind ourselves of what happened a little bit earlier on. Highlights from round 8 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and it was an excellent start from Deegan Fairclough to steal away the race lead from Nikita Bedrin on the run for the opening corner. He had the inside look, as he had yesterday. Could he complete the move? Bedrin to the outside, bit of a lock-up from them. And of course, the drama was behind. An instant with a bit of a squeeze, unfortunately there for the hill speed of Peter Bowers-Nellis, ripping off the front wing of Rowan Campbell-Pilling, and also getting involved with the likes of Jacob Mikolev. There was an unfortunate retirement in all that as well from Deegan Fairclough. Once we got back racing, there was a big move to the inside for Max Rem, who was finding his way up the order and was looking brilliant in all his racing as he was finding his way through on his teammate. But unfortunately, he was slowing down, a bit of an issue for him, and he would retire from the race himself, leaving Nikita Bedrin, the championship leader, to roll away at the front of the field and pull out an unbelievable margin to take his 4th victory of the season. So Nikita Bedrin on top once again. Absolutely fantastic for the VRD racing driver, who seems to get stronger and stronger and stronger. 2 seconds clear of Martin Molnar, who was closing the gap in late on in the race. And Lucas Flusha on the podium. A good drive from Abby Pulling to 4th after her retirement from yesterday. Kyuho Lee in 5th. Dante Vinci getting 6th position for the Hill Speed team. Of course, for Hill Speed, the unfortunate result, Peter Bowers-Nellis retiring at the opening corner. Still Dante Vinci and Aurelia Nabels in 6th and 8th position. Great results for the team. Great result for Aurelia Nabels, her first top 10 in the championship. Patricio Gonzalez either side, with Rodrigo Gonzalez behind. Flynn Jacks at the back end of the top 10. Yuho Fu in 11th position, with Ricardo Baptista, Lewis Gilbert and Jacob Mikolev, who was able to get himself back into contention after losing his front wing at the opening corner. Ian Wilson as well. 4 retirements from the race: Max Rem, Deegan Fairclough, Peter Bowers-Nellis and Rowan Campbell-Pilling. What does that do for the Drivers' Championship? Well, it extends Nikita's Bedrin margin to 67 points. Absolutely incredible from Bedrin, who is piecing together a perfect championship so far. Max Rem in 2nd position, with Martin Molnar in 3rd. A bit of a gap back to Lucas Flusha as well, who's also grabbed himself a podium, with Jin Nakamura still hanging on to the top 5 after being absent this weekend.
And Nikita Bedrin. Nikita, congratulations on an unusual race there, but you're in the right place at the right time to secure your 4th win of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really tricky start. I think me and Deegan both had a really good start. We went side by side into T1, and I managed to get moved on into T2. Very early safety car surprised me a bit. It was really quick. But yeah, I think I managed both restarts good, and then I just controlled the pace from the front.
Yeah, thank you very much. It does feel amazing. I'm really happy that I could score a podium here. I missed out on it yesterday, even though we had a very good first half of the race. So I was a little disappointed after that, but yeah, I woke up a bit stronger today, and I said I will get the podium today. So yeah, I'm really happy with the podium, and yeah, looking forward for the last race.
Yeah, it was very good. We got a really good jump on the start. Got a bit stuck in the middle there, but still, yeah, we got a good start. Car was really good. Yeah, and just quite happy.
A comfortable and dominant performance then from Nikita Bedrin. Maybe got a little bit lucky with the retirement, of course, from Deegan Fairclough, but plenty of happy drivers on the podium. Plenty of happy drivers as well outside of the podium positions. A bit earlier on in the day, Jack Hodgetts was able to catch up with a couple of our drivers after race 2.
Abby started 4th, finished 4th, and a lot better result than yesterday. How are you feeling after that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a mixed race. It wasn't. I got a bit lucky, considering there was two people ahead that had some bad luck. So you got to take it where you can, and I've scored some great points in that. But for sure, opening laps, the start, I just keep getting massive wheel spin at the start, and we kind of don't really know why. So yeah, that's a frustrating thing. And then got a lot of contact at the start and had a bit of damage, I think, throughout the race. That was a bit to manage, but got a feel for it at the end, and yeah, kind of picked up the pace and figured it out a little bit more. But it's been a weird weekend so far.
And talk me through what it's like with the different weather conditions we're going through at the moment. We've gone from Silverstone being sunny, Spa in the wet, and then back in the major heat of Hungary. How does that affect you out there?
Yeah, well, it's strange because you think the tyres will come in really well here, because you say major heat, but we've got overcast, we've got a bit of wind, and it was actually quite cold this morning. I would come in with a jacket on, so yeah, it's not quite as straightforward as maybe it sounds in that department. There's a lot more to think about. And yeah, I think that's something that probably as a team, not just me, is struggling with this weekend, is them first few laps on the tyres feeling a bit strange. And it's just about figuring that out, and we've got time to figure it out and move forward. I mean, last year it's a little bit different to last year, so I think it's just been a bit of figuring out.
You talk about time. We've got about 6 hours now. I can see the countdown over there. What are you going to do in that break to prepare for the next race?
Maybe have a nap. Obviously look at my start, because that's something that's been bad all weekend and we don't really know why. Spa, I was perfectly fine and doing everything the same with my feet, so it's just a bit strange. And then have some food, have some lunch, maybe watch a movie, don't know, see how I'm feeling.
No trip to the water park up on the hill?
I think that's closed, no?
Hopefully not. We were hoping to go up there.
Oh, well, maybe send me an invite and I might come with you.
A reverse grid coming up this evening, like you said, 6 hours away. What are you hoping to get out of that one?
To be honest, points. Like, it's been, after Silverstone and then here, and then obviously missing out on the reverse grid race at Spa when we were actually having a really good kind of round for pace. Just need some points on the board, try and keep my nose clean, figure out the start, 'cause my launch is just appalling, and go from there really. There's positives to take from that last race, and the pace was there at the end. It's just figuring out why we didn't have that feeling early laps and so on, and it's always a bit of carnage in the reverse grid races, so have a bit of fun with it as well.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, we just finished up race 2 here in Hungary and your first top 10 in the season. How are you feeling?
I'm really happy with the P8. I think we made good progress from the start of the season, and we can finally show our potential, and now we try to work even harder for race 3 and get an even better result.
And what can you do to climb up there in race 3?
I think I had a really good start. I started P13 and went straight to P9, and then there was some crashes during the race, but I think I had a good pace, and I'm pretty happy.
And I do have to ask, have you got one eye on the football at all tonight?
Brazil is playing, so I'm gonna watch. I really hope they win, and
And looking at this track here, how is it to be racing on these F1 tracks every weekend?
It's my first time here. With the F1 Academy, I'm used to racing, to drive in F1 tracks, but this one is very tricky, and I think it's super nice. I really enjoyed this track, and
And we've got quite a bit of downtime now between these two races, about 6 hours at the time we're talking now. How do you keep prepared in that time?
Well, we're gonna analyze all the race 2 and see what we can do better for race 3, and then I guess just wait and stay focused.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Aurelian Abels there, who had a personal best performance a little bit earlier on with an 8th place finish. Absolutely incredible, showing again that learning that these drivers go through over the season, the learning which the drivers have been going through over the weekend, getting used to this Hungaroring circuit. A little bit earlier on the weekend, we were able to grab an onboard lap with Martin Molnar. Before that, we'll take a look at the track guide of the Hungaroring. The GB3 Championship returns to the Hungaroring for the 3rd time in the series' history. The iconic host of the Hungarian Grand Prix runs down into that opening corner at turn 1. Such a tricky braking zone as we start to drop down the hill. Through turn 2, the long left-hander, and then a flick right as we then begin to climb back up towards turn 4. Iconic and very tricky to navigate before we turn right the way through turns 5, 6 and 7 flicks us right and left before we head into this S's section at 8, 9, 10 and 11. The short shoot down towards turn 12 with the downhill braking zone before we climb back up through the double hairpin sequence at 13 and 14. Between the two of those is where the DRS detection point is that activates for both the DRS zones along the start-finish straight and that run down the hill towards turn 2. Just the single detection point staying within a second of the car ahead gives you DRS for both of the zones around the Hungaroring. That is a look at the 14 turns of the Hungaroring circuit. Let's take a look around the Hungaroring circuit on board with hometown hero Martin Molnar for the Rodin team. Into the braking zone at turn 1, slightly drops downhill into a tricky braking zone where you want to find a later apex. In a bit too deep there for Molnar, that's absolutely fine. Gets on the power nice and early before dropping down the hill. 1A, the slight kink between 1 and 2 before this tricky left-hander constantly goes to the left. You need to keep it over that left-hand side before we get into turn 3. A fast flick to the right before we rise back up towards turn 4. Infamous and tricky, especially when it comes to track limits on the outside. Blind as you crest over the hill, then through the left-hander all the way over to that right-hand side. Pull it back over to the left before we get into the basically double apex turn at turn 5. Finding that later apex and then continuing to rise up the hill. We crest over the top and then go through the chicane at 6 and 7. Before this S's section, it goes first to the left and then back to the right, the first part of it being quite tricky before we can pin that throttle down, going towards turn 10 and 11. 11 being the site of quite a lot of track limit excursions through qualifying. We're expecting the same for the race. So easy to run wide at this corner. Just 3 turns left to go, the first of which is the 90-degree right-hander at turn 12 before the rise back up the hill into the double hairpin sequence. Turn 13, the penultimate corner, wanted to hold it very tight, not using the curb though on the left-hand side. We've got pit entrance on the right-hand side. We pull the car back over to the left before dropping it into that final corner. One downshift to bring us back onto the apex, and that is a look around the 4.3 kilometre circuit here at the Hungaroring. So now we're all familiar with the circuit we're racing at this weekend. Let's check in with our reverse grid pole sitter. Jack Hodges was able to catch up with Flynn Jacks after the race earlier today to hear his thoughts on the weekend so far, and starting from pole in the reverse grid.
Flynn, 2 races out here in Hungary so far. How have you found it?
Yeah, it's good. Definitely a challenge compared to last year with the new cars. It's a lot more lively and a lot more managing, but apart from that, I like the circuit, so I'm enjoying myself so far.
We've obviously started the season off with 3 F1 circuits in a row and the 4th next weekend as well. How do you find it on these ones?
Yeah, it's a different challenge every time, obviously. It's quite nice, and specifically here, I'm quite fond of the circuit, so I'm enjoying it while it lasts.
And looking forward to this evening now. We've got a 6-hour break in between sessions. What are you doing in that downtime?
Oh, I don't know. Last time I said I was going to go for a hike. I said that's Spa. I don't know what I do now. I'm probably have a lion, to be honest. I'm ready for one. This heat's been quite brutal.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. And obviously starting on pole for that reverse grid, what are you hoping to get out of that?
Just a good start, manage the race, manage the tyres, set good pace and just drive off, hopefully.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
If you ever want to see emotion from a driver, go back to watch the 3rd race of the weekend back in Silverstone, when Flynn Jacks was leading from the reverse grid pole. He was in position, had it taken away. Jin Nakamura was able to come through and take the victory on that day. And the emotion from Flynn Jacks, who was searching for his first victory. He grabbed his first podium back there in Silverstone, but still that first win eluded him. It is on the horizon, though, for Flynn Jackson. And a circuit like this, starting from reverse grid pole, there is that really high potential. It is such a difficult circuit to overtake at. As long as he gets that race start done right, then I'm sure he'll be good. You can see them all queuing at the end of pit lane before they'll work their way round on a reconnaissance lap, and then we'll begin the formation lap before we'll get 25 minutes of reverse grid action underway here at the Hungaroring. Great opportunity for Flynn Jacks, but hearing from a couple of drivers, obviously we heard from Abby Pulling how these cars are quite tricky to get off the line. A lot of wheel spin that these drivers are dealing with, and like I said, that can be a little bit problematic for the drivers. Got to keep it clean. Such a long run down to the braking zone for the opening corner. We've seen a lot of lockups down at that part of the circuit. Can this be the time for Flynn Jacks to maybe seal that victory? Will someone else queuing up behind him also find their way through? Can Nikita Bedrin somehow extend his championship lead, which is already ballooning this weekend? For the 3rd time then this weekend in the GB3 Championship, we are ready to go racing. So let's go for it. Let's go racing. Reverse grid ahead of us here in the GB3 Championship. We are ready to go at the Hungaroring for round 9 of this season, which has been fantastically dramatic so far this weekend, as we'd always expect when we go racing at a Grand Prix venue. We've already done Silverstone, we've already done Spa, and we now race here at the Hungaroring. That race down into that opening corner, so difficult to get that braking zone right. We've seen plenty of lockups, but plenty of overtakes into it, along with the run down of the short chute into turn 2, where Nikita Bedram was able to find his way back around the outside of Deegan Fairclough in the opening stage of the race. It's been P2 that's taken over the lead on that run down into the opening corner on both occasions so far today, or so far this weekend rather, and both of those in the hands of Deegan Fairclough. The look through the S section and into that twisty final sector as they have the double hairpin sequence uphill, 2 DRS zones that run along the start-finish straight and then down into turn 2. It'll be active at the end of the second lap, so for really the start of the third. That is a look at the fantastic Hungaroring that we will be racing around here today for one final time this weekend. Reverse grid always is a difficult prospect for the drivers. When we go racing at somewhere like Silverstone, or obviously later on in the season we go racing at Barcelona, where we've raced at Monza in the past, overtaking is very much a possibility, and so working your way through to take that victory even from quite a lot lower down is very much a possibility. Around here, it is a lot more difficult. The only real overtaking that we've seen so far over this weekend has come down to the opening corner and then the run into turn 2. The rest of this S sequence, it's so difficult to stay close, and the level is so high in GB3 that very rarely are they making mistakes. The only real side-by-side that we saw through the S section came between Martin Molnar and Maxime Rem, the two of them going side-by-side for the Rodin team after Rem was having a bit of a technical problem, dropping down the order and struggling a little bit for power. Obviously, the retirement in the previous race for two of our top contingent, being Max Rem and Deegan Fairclough. They will be desperate to score some decent points here this afternoon. But the sun is lowering on the horizon, definitely not setting. We've got a long way before that happens, but it'll be certainly lower in the eye line than what the drivers have had to be dealing with so far this weekend. They'll all have some tinted visors on their helmets just to make sure that they can actually see where they're going and not blinded, especially around some of the dips and rises around this circuit. There'll be a couple of times where that sun is right in your eye line. There is Flynn Jacks, and for a driver who was so emotional, I have a little bit of a soft spot for drivers that actually show some serious emotion. To see how both upset and over the moon he was at the same time at Silverstone earlier on in the season, I'd be willing him on to have a solid result here, starting from the reverse grid pole. 4 drivers that are up there though, seeking their first victory in the championship. Well, the front 3 rows of this grid, there are 0 victories across them, and in fact there is only one single podium that's been picked up from the front 3 rows, and that is Flynn Jacks earlier on this season. Behind all of that, it's the rows behind from 4 on back where we start seeing those whole hosts of victories. Lucas Flusha with 1, Maxime Rem with 1, obviously back in Monza at the end of last season, now be pulling with 1 earlier on this season. Martin Molnar yet to get his first one. Could he do it from 10th position? That'll be a very tall order indeed. Deegan Fairclough with 2, including 1 this weekend, as long with Nikita Bedram, who you can see there on the left-hand side of the grid. The charcoal grey, the red, the white, and the checker plate on the inside of the front wing. He'll be hungry for yet another good result. 4 victories so far this season. All 4 of them, though, have come from pole position. The only time we've had a reverse grid this season was back in Silverstone. He ended up finishing 12th on that day, 11th rather on that day, after starting from 12th position. He has now what would almost feel, I'm sure to some, almost unassailable lead in the championship at 67 points. If he's able to continue on growing that margin, then a lot of the drivers on the grid might be looking at thinking, right, well, the title's here, so let's all battle for second position. They begin their formation lap then around the Hungaroring circuit and already start putting the heat into the tyres. A little bit warmer there out on the circuit than it was when we were racing this morning, where it was about 30 degrees. It's about 30 degrees now, but the air temperature's up by about 5 degrees. It was 20 earlier, it's now 25. Here's a look at the starting grid then. It's Flynn Jack starting from reverse grid pole for the second time this season, alongside Dante Vinci, who finished in 6th position in a personal best performance earlier on in the day. Jacob Micallef will be joining us for his first round of this championship. He had a top 10 earlier on the day, 14th earlier on today. Rowan Campbell-Pilling will be starting alongside Peter Valzanellis will start from 5th alongside Q-Ho Lee, who got his first top 5 of the series in the race earlier on. Lucas Flusha had a podium. He'll be starting alongside Max Rem, whose retirement in the previous race drops him a little bit further off the champion lead to now 67 points. Abby Pulling in 9th position will be starting alongside her teammate Martin Molnar and the Hungarian hometown hero. It's Deegan Fairclough starting alongside Nikita Bedrin. Fairclough, who retired from the previous race, Bedrin, who won the previous race. And Fairclough has been fantastic on the race starts. Aurelia Nobel's had her personal best performance in 13th position. She'll be starting this race, which is where she was in the previous, starting alongside Ricardo Baptista. As it was in the previous, it's an all Gonzalez 8th row on the grid with Rodrigo ahead of Patricio. And then it's Lewis Gilbert and Yu Hao Fu, with Leon Wilson rounding out the 19-car field. We are ready to go. And for Flynn Jacks, you can imagine the heart rate rising. He is the most experienced driver on this grid. When we go racing in a week's time, in the opening race at the Red Bull Ring, it'll actually be Flynn Jacks' 50th race in the GB3 Championship. He has been through a lot in that time. And he is trying to work his way forward, and I've seen those improvements. He really has improved throughout the opening portion of this season compared to where he's been in previous. And he's building himself up to be one of the stronger drivers when he can find that pace on a consistent basis. But this is all about not making mistakes, which is obviously easier said than done around a circuit which absolutely bites. And it's a 25-minute race, and I almost think for Flynn Jacks, the one thing that he cannot do is get inside his own head. For the likes of Dante Vinci, nothing to lose here. You know, he's in his third weekend of GB3. Jacob Mikolev, he's in his first weekend in GB3, third weekend again for Rowan Campbell pulling behind. These drivers that haven't had podiums yet, they've kind of got nothing to lose. They're learning from it. For Flynn Jacks, he'll be consciously aware that this is his best opportunity to win a race, and he had that one taken away from him with literally, it was just 2 corners to go at Silverstone. If you didn't join us for it, honestly, go and check it out on the MSV TV YouTube channel. It was a fantastic race. The unfortunate situation for Flynn Jacks. We'll have a time to do it again as the 5 lights come on ahead of us. It's Jacks from Vinci, and we are back racing. Good start from Dante Vinci. Better start though from Jacob Mikolev from 3rd position. Can he overtake the race lead onto the opening corner? It's Dante Vinci who was looking to one side. Flynn Jacks seems to hold the whole shot in that bright yellow car. Straight to the inside comes Dante Vinci. A big double lock up there from Rowan Campbell pilling on the outside. We'll have to get that one arrested. And there is one car with a bit of damage on the front wing. I think that might have been Yu Hao Fu. Abby Pulling is also off the road. It could have been Deegan Fairclough, but either way they dropped down the hill, and it is the race lead still going the way of Flynn Jacks, side by side between a couple of the XL cars. Rowan Campbell Pilling going side by side with Lucas Flusha, who's had a fantastic start to the race. Flusha has come up from 7th position all the way up, I believe, to 3rd. Absolutely incredible scenes, picking his way through. Got to say, I think it was actually, I was going to say it's Jacob Mikolev because of where the high-tech car that had the front wing damage in the opening corner, because Deegan Fairclough definitely wasn't him, because he's been able to work his way through up the order, I believe, or I might be mixing up with Mikolev himself, who's in 4th position. Yellow flag's being waved here, and safety car is being deployed. Car stationary at the opening corner. Martin Molnar has actually dropped back a couple of spots. I will correct myself for another time. It is Deegan Fairclough who is out of the race. You can see the front left of his car is damaged. Abby Pulling, I believe, also out of the race. No, she's come through the first sector. It's Max Rem who's out of the race. Deegan Fairclough and Max Rem, both of them, I believe, they've not come through the opening sector. Abby Pulling was definitely involved because she was about 40 seconds behind the car ahead. There is Abby Pulling with what looks to be a rattly rear wing. Is the car all right? And she's pulling off to one side, and I think might be calling it a day here up at turn 5. Big shame for Abby Pulling, who obviously began this European road trip in such form with a pole position and a race victory back in Spa. But the swings that we have here in the GB3 Championship, especially on the European road trip, is definitely a difficult one to deal with and a tough pill to swallow. Let's take a look at a replay. Looking backwards, there was the big lockup. That was actually Lucas Flusha with the double front lockup. He'd had a great start, and there was Deegan Fairclough into the rear end. Martin Molnar just got caught up in it going around the outside. That's why he's dropped back into last position, just navigating his way around the outside of Abby Pulling. Not 100% sure as to what happened with Max Max Rem, and now I think it was actually a timing thing for Max Rem, because he's popped back up to 9th position. I saw it further down, but I didn't think that was the case. Abby Pulling and Deegan Fairclough only your 2 retirements. Max Rem has found himself back in 9th position, so it's not been great for the Rodin. We are getting an update from Race Control. It was a transponder error from him. Hopefully that one will be sorted as we work our way through the race. The important stuff, though, is Flynn Jacks is your race leader. Dante Vinci is in 2nd, with Lucas Fluscher in 3rd. Rowan Campbell-Pilling and Jacob Micallef in 4th and 5th position, with Kyuho Lee, Peter Bowser-Nellis. Nikita Bedrin has come from 12th position up to 8th. And the championship leader looks to be building that margin even more, because he is ahead of Maxime Rem, Patricio Gonzalez, Aurelien Nibels, Yuhao Fu, with Ricardo Baptista in 13th position, then Lewis Gilbert, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Martin Molnar. Leon Wilson, the final of the runners. And not really anything that Abby Pulling could do there. Just clattered into by Deegan Fairclough in the braking zone of the opening corner. So difficult to navigate these opening turns. Even on the safety car here, they're remaining pretty close. Safety car has been called in this lap, pulls away from the field as Flynn Jacks takes control and immediately starts the warm-up procedure for the Elite Motorsports car. Dante Vinci ready to go behind. We saw some perfect restarts from Nikita Bedrin in the previous race. Well, we'll see if we can get anything quite as close. Wow, right onto the rear end, Dante Vinci, almost tapping the rain light there of Flynn Jacks, who's being very patient before we're even into the penultimate corner. Still waiting and still waiting. Nikita Bedrin went at this point on his initial restart in the previous. Flynn Jacks is waiting even longer. He's holding a consistent speed. By the time we get to the apex of the penultimate corner, he is away. And then into the final corner, it's Flynn Jacks leading from Vinci from Fluscher. Fluscher's got a great opportunity to take his 2nd victory in the GB3 Championship. He's done a great job to rise his way up to 3rd position with an aggressive opening lap. Can he find his way through in a second? Defensive line coming in from Dante Vinci. Lucas Fluscher will look to the outside of the opening corner. Defence coming in from Jacob Micallef behind. Bit of a lock up there from our race leader Flynn Jacks. The inside line going in from the red and black, but straight around the outside. Lucas Fluscher up to 2nd position as we work our way down the hill towards turn 2. Right hand side of your screen is Lucas Fluscher. The look back to the inside coming in from Dante Vinci, but he could not do it. It is the race lead for Flynn Jacks despite that slight mistake in the opening corner. But Lucas Fluscher is flying up through the field. Started 7th, runs 2nd. An incredible run from the XL Motorsports driver. Had a bit of a battle with his teammate Rowan Campbell-Pilling on the opening lap, but it is Campbell-Pilling in 4th position, now staring at the back of Dante Vinci himself. A little bit look to some of the drivers further down. Lewis Gilbert's made a bit of progress as well, up to 14th spot. Martin Molnar needs to get on with it from the back of the field. Restarted this race rather from 16th position. And the hometown hero will be very disappointed with it. I don't think he's made any major progress from that point. He might have got himself past Rodrigo Gonzalez, I believe he has. But no further progress from that point. Yuhao Fu has also come up to the back of the grid, or effectively the back of the grid with 18th position, up to 12th. So he's picked his way through nicely on the start of the race and the restart indeed. Flynn Jacks nearly building that gap up to a second. It was a great middle sector from Flynn Jacks. Fastest middle sector came in from Lucas Fluscher, but the middle sector there was about 2/10 faster from Flynn Jacks, your race leader. Out onto the start-finish straight, we'll get a real understanding as to where the gaps are. And of course, at the end of this lap, they'll have DRS active. 2 zones for DRS racing around here. I think Martin Molnar also got his way up yet another position. He has got past Lewis Gilbert, runs in 13th position. So Molnar is making some progress. Further down the order, Max Rem making a big move to the inside there. Rem going down the inside of Bowser-Nellis to the inside of the opening corner. Rem getting aggressive, Bowser-Nellis dropping back. Nikita Bedrin's already worked his way through and set the fastest lap of the race. He's charging up to the contingent ahead. But an important move there for the driver that currently sits 2nd in the championship race. Through turn 2 they go with a big slide coming in from the German. And Martin Molnar also working his way through another spot. That's Ricardo Baptista. He's come through up to 13th position now for the black and blue of the Hungarian of Martin Molnar. So he is making some progress. We're seeing obviously a lot more moves here than we saw in the previous couple of races as the slides come in into the chicane at 6 and 7. Rowan Campbell-Pilling very aggressive onto the back of Dante Vinci. He was a little bit offline there going through turn 6 and 7. Dante Vinci in the number 10, one of the Hill Speed cars, teammate of the car that we're looking at right here. That is Aurelien Nibels, who finished in 8th position in the previous. Rowan Campbell-Pilling in the number 8 in 4th position. is very close to going for a move. There's Peter Balzanellis, and there is a look coming through the foreground of your shot of the fight for second on back. It really is a bit of a gap for our race leader, who's now leading by 1.2 seconds and has definitely broken the DRS to those behind. Lucas Fluger will have to worry about Dante Vinci here, maybe on the run down into the opening corner. Vinci will definitely have to worry about Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who is looking for his first podium in the GB3 Championship after a disappointing run just a few weeks ago back at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. And there's not going to be just those moves that we're focused on. Nikita Bedrin on the back of Kyu-Ho Lee was the one we were looking at there. Kyu-Ho Lee in the bright yellow Elite Motorsports car. That car popping out there in the background. Just going to the left-hand side, that is Nikita Bedrin in the grey, red and black. Down the inside, Bedrin makes the move and is now running in 6th spot. Fastest lap of the race did come in on the previous from Nikita Bedrin, but the fastest one over the previous lap was definitely Flynn Jacks. Meanwhile, car 11, which is Peter Balzanellis, was at a false start, and so we'll be dropping down the order with a 10-second post-race time. He was just holding on there from Patricio Gonzalez, who's now got to worry about Aurelien Abels, who's gone straight around the outside after the fight with one of the hill speeds, and Aurelien Abels has got past on Patricio Gonzalez. The pair of those were battling quite a lot in the previous race. Abels now runs in 10th position, so another top 10 finish potentially on the cards for the Brazilian, who has found her way moving up the order. It'll be 9th spot by the time Balzanellis gets that 10-second post-race time penalty, unless he's able to scamper off into the distance. Watching some of those drivers rising their way back or from the reverse grid positions. Nikita Bedrin is on the back of Jacob Mikulev, and it could be a top 5 finish. Can we rule out a podium for Nikita Bedrin? Can we rule out a victory at the moment from Nikita Bedrin? I'm not so sure. He's certainly close enough to challenge and to put those thoughts into the minds. Dante Vinci still has got Rowan Campbell-Pilling behind, but Lucas Flucher's pace, which looked really strong in the early stages, seems to have fallen off a little bit, and the car that's at the head of this shot, Lucas Flucher, is the one under the most pressure. A 10th faster on the previous lap from Dante Vinci. A second faster was our race leader. Flynn Jacks is flying at the moment ahead of this field. He's pulled the gap out to a whopping 3-second margin. A bit of a look to the inside from Nikita Bedrin, and there was no opportunity there on the run into the opening corner. Down the hill into 2. And he looks, Nikita Bedrin does give it a look down the inside, can't find his way past Jacob Mikulev, still new to the GB3 Championship, but clearly gelling with the car plenty. Kyu-Ho Lee, 7th position, Peter Balzanellis behind. In all of that, I haven't quite caught, I think it would just be a transponder thing again, as to why Max Rems dropped down the field. He is in fact directly behind Kyu-Ho Lee, I can see that visually on the circuit, so it is just a transponder. Any Max Rem fans out there, he's down to 17th position, but he is actually running in 8th, directly behind Kyu-Ho Lee. A lot of curb being taken there through turn 6 and 7 from the number 7 of Lucas Flucher. The differing lines as they work their way through this S's section, especially in the opening part at 8 and 9. A lot of drivers wanted to pull it back over to the left-hand side as quickly as they can to open up that exit so they can get on the power earlier. It does mean you've got to sacrifice a little bit of speed on the way into. Jacob Mikulev and Nikita Bedrin, the pair of them off the road there on the exit of turn 11. Look to the inside, coming in once again from the 4-time race winner this season, out wide and dipping 2 wheels into the gravel. That was Rowan Campbell-Pilling on the exit of turn 12. The gravel that's been picked up even by Martin Molnar a little bit earlier on in the weekend. See what the lap times are this time by. Flynn Jacks, our race leader, the Elite Motorsports car, is currently holding firm at the top of the field. 3.5 seconds the gap for the race lead, and again half a second faster than Lucas Flucher, who still has been dealing with Dante Vinci so brilliantly. DRS is active for those behind. Nikita Bedrin, look to the inside, big lock up there from Nikita Bedrin. He's down the inside of Jacob Mikulev, who's going to lose a couple of positions as well. That was very aggressive from Nikita Bedrin. I don't think he was intending to send it down that hard, but a double front lock up from Bedrin. He finds his way past. Great observing driving from Jacob Mikulev, and obviously he'll be disappointed to have lost a couple of positions, but at least he's still in the race. Max Rem could not get his way past Kyu-Ho Lee, but the championship leader with a massive lock-up into the opening complex. I get a feeling that is definitely going to cost him a little bit of time here through the race, because those tyres are not going to be feeling very fun right now. He has found his way up into 5th position. We'll have another look at that. Watch him as he dives down the inside, braking at a diagonal. He just catches the front right, and then as soon as he catches the front right, he catches the front left as well. Heads up driving from Jacob Mikulev. And he also had to be worried about the 2 cars that were on the inside as they were working their way through the opening turn. And Mikulev had to, unfortunately, basically jump out of the way there. It's one of those ones where, technically speaking, whoa, big off there in the background. That one was Kyu-Ho Lee, who's gone off in the rear end. Bit of a slide through turn 11, and that will almost certainly be a safety car. Quite a fast off there. You can see him moving in the car. He's gone in head first into the barrier. And there is obviously a lot of damage. The front wing has been taken off of that car. DRS immediately disabled. Safety car has been deployed. No shock for that one. Very fast off. And a very disappointing moment for his teammate, to be perfectly honest, because, of course, Flynn Jacks, who was the race leader, sat there thinking, I had a 3.5 second gap. But now, with 12 minutes left to go in this race, that gap has been moved back to 0. I still think he's got plenty of speed to pull his way clear of Lucas Flusha and the likes behind if he keeps that speed up. But it'll be a heart and mouth moment for him as out of the car goes Kyu-Ho Lee. You'll see it in the background. It's almost backwards by the time he comes through. I get the feeling he's clipped the curb on the inside with... well, he's definitely clipped it awkwardly with the rear right. He must have obviously tapped at them with the front, but it's just spat the rear end of the car out, and that will have most likely come from clipping that curb through turn 11. Such a fast corner. Tear off being taken there from Dante Vinci, as they'll have plenty on these cars. It's one of those ones where on a clear visor you don't notice sometimes as much as the gunk that appears on the screen, or the tyre flick offs and various bugs and stuff that ends up being on your visors. But when the sun catches them at various points of the track, they become very irritating to look through. So you tend to go through quite a lot more tear-offs at this time of day than what you would normally, as even more are being flicked up. They're not normally a problem unless they enter the cooling system of another car, at which point most of them, it's a very thin bit of plastic, so normally it's not a problem, but very rarely can cause its fair share of problems. There's a look at that visor being torn off. Flicks down to the right side. It's one of those ones where, because of the air that's being flicked off of these cars and how thin the visor strips are, they're actually very hard to control. Because, well, obviously if you drop them, you think you hold them up to one side, then let them go. They can go from that point, they can literally go anywhere. So you've got to be very careful with when and where you do it, and that's why they hold them basically as far away from their own car as possible, so it doesn't get entered into their own cooling system, which is still a possibility. 10 minutes left to go in the race. It's Flynn Jacks who will be currently our race leader. Lucas Flusha and Dante Vinci behind. For Flusha, he's searching for a second victory on his career. For Flynn Jacks, he's searching for a first. For Dante Vinci and for Rowan Campilling behind, they're searching for a first podium. But I feel like the big issues for them might be Nikita Bedrin, who sits in 5th position, looking for a 7th podium from 8 completed races. Of course, we had the race cancelled back at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps a few weeks ago. It was the reverse grid race that was cancelled, so we did race 1 and race 2 because race 1 was delayed and then race 2 was eventually delayed. We ended up not doing race 3 because they moved the slots around. With that, we've only done 7 races before, 8 races. If Nikita Bedrin, that driver there in the number 20, if he can get 7 podiums from 8 races, in the 5 seasons that I've commentated on the GB3 Championship, that is unheard of pace and consistency, and Bedrin is flying. Freddie Slater was obviously incredibly fast at the start of last season for the rounds that he joined us, but even when he went racing at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, I don't think he had quite that consistency. They did win from last, so I guess it's possible. Flynn Jacks, though, I mean, you kind of wonder what the heart rate is in his car. It's definitely, I'll tell you this, not even from the physicality of driving the GB3 cars around this circuit, it'll definitely be comfortably in the triple digits, even just from the pressure that's being applied from behind. You see less so here on the safety car. You get a time for you to cool down and breathe. But that's partly when you go and warm up the tyres. You're almost wanting to warm up your own mentality and psych yourself up, get yourself back in the zone, get yourself ready. Because if Flynn Jacks can restart the race the way that he restarted the race earlier on in this one, he will be able to pull away, surely, from Lucas Flusha behind. Safety car has come into the pit lane, so it was pulled away from the field again. And we saw how late Flynn Jacks was leaving it. He left it all the way until the apex of the penultimate corner. And I get the feeling he might well do something similar Obviously, behind him in the previous restart of the race, Dante Vinci, Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Lucas Flusha was able to get through on Dante Vinci on the previous restart. So much gravel here down at the third to last corner, as obviously Rowan Campbell-Pilling ran through the gravel trap a little bit earlier on. Waiting. Flynn Jacks ready to go. Is he going at the same spot? He's about here. He's waiting even longer. Now goes. He accelerates away from the field. Perfect restart. Look at the gap that he's already built from Lucas Flusha. Caught him napping. Through the final corner we go. 7 minutes left to go on the clock. About 5 laps left from this point. Lucas Flusha was caught napping there, and the gap is already around half a second. Incredible stuff there from Flynn Jacks. Played his cards perfectly. Dante Vinci is close enough to the back of Lucas Flusha to at least keep him thinking into the opening corner. Martin Molnar's making a move in the background. Rowan Campbell-Pilling looks to the outside for third position. Bit of a lock-up from Campbell-Pilling as he tries to go all the way around the outside. Gets squeezed off the road. There is a car spun round. One of the hill speeds has gone backwards, and I think that might have been Aurelia Nibels at the opening corner. We'll come back to that one in a moment because the fight is on. It is the 11 there of Peter Bowser-Nellis rather than Aurelia Nibels, as cars going off the road left, right and centre. It's Rowan Campbell-Pilling trying to get his way through. Nikita Bedrin onto the scene. Up the hill we go with Nikita Bedrin looking to the outside. He gets his way in the fourth position. Big kick of oversteer from Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who's found himself in a third position. He is sliding all over the circuit. He's got dirty tyres and he's trying to find the grip on. Yellow flag has been deployed, and for a third time in this race, the safety car is back out to retrieve Peter Bowser-Nellis' car. It's a shame because that was getting very exciting there in the fight for third. Rowan Campbell-Pilling has found his way into third. Let's see. Looking backwards, obviously we've got Rowan Campbell-Pilling making the move here, but what happened behind? It was Aurelia Nibels into the side of Peter Bowser-Nellis, clips the front wing on the way through. Patricio Gonzalez as well gets stationary in all of that. And a very awkward moment, and another safety car deployed here in GB3. The reverse grids do tend to see them out. For Excel Motorsports, look at that, great drive. And whilst all that was going on, whilst there was the moment, I did think going around the outside there was someone making a move on Nikita Bedrin. Didn't quite realise it was Maxime Rem. Maybe be able to close down at least a couple of points in the championship challenge. Yes, it's 67 at the moment, the championship lead for Nikita Bedrin, but every single point matters. And for Maxime Rem, if he's able to get his way past Nikita Bedrin, which obviously he is in this scenario, then if he can hold on to that, that'll be a very important thing for him in the championship. For Rowan Campbell-Pilling, it could be a first podium in GB3 for him. 5 minutes left to go, and with the car stationary at the opening corner, they'll be picked up by the safety car, and the marshals have been fantastic all weekend. The marshalling team there basically telling them to hold it tight through the opening corner because there was a car stationary. Obviously great communication from the marshals there. You don't have too much of a field of view when you're sat in these cars. Looking left and right can be tremendously difficult, and as they work their way through that opening corner and just holding it a little bit tight into the pit lane to repair the front wing for Aurelia Nibels, the two hill speeds that came into contact. Obviously huge disappointment there after a great race earlier on in the day. There'll be a little bit of frustration from the hill speed duo. I'm sure there'll be maybe a slightly uncomfortable debrief post-race, but Nibels has been growing a little bit this weekend, and she showed that in the previous race, was showing that as well earlier on in this race, was running in the top 10. Bowser-Nellis also, we must remind you, has a 10-second post-race time penalty. So even though he was trying to hang on there with the 10-second post-race time penalty, you can kind of understand why Aurelia Nibels probably wanted to get on with it a little bit and get past her teammate, as there was no real way that Bowser-Nellis was scoring anything major during this race. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. We'll have to wait and see when the marshalling team can get that car picked up. It normally takes about 2.5 to 3 minutes under the safety car, so you would suspect with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, and the fact the safety car is not being called in with immediate effect, that this race is going to end under safety car. And even if we were able to get all the way around in blistering speed in the capable hands of our safety car driver, Flynn Jacks will slow the field down so much that we definitely wouldn't get a restart done. And so with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left to go, we'll be heading on to the last lap of the race, and we will be ending this one under safety car. Unfortunate end to the weekend then, but for Flynn Jacks, he won't mind about that one bit. Had the disappointment, as I've mentioned a few times before, of Silverstone. He'll be over the moon. Maybe not ridiculously happy that this is how it's been done. Obviously, he would have wanted to have done it in full racing conditions, but I think he will have proved to himself more than enough that he was able to pull away from Lucas Flusha and prove himself in a very solid way ahead of the field. On to the final lap they go, with Flynn Jacks at the moment leading. For Max Rem, he will be outscoring. Nikita Bedrin technically, only in race-given points. But remember here, in the GB3 Championship, I was just checking as their starting positions. The reverse grid points, of course, you get 20 for the victory, and you get your regular points for the positions you manage to finish in. Of course, in this race, it's 20, 17, 15, 13, 11, 10, and then down by 1 all the way to 15. But you also gain an extra point for every position you've gained relative to your starting position. Now, Max Rem, as much as he's one position ahead of Bedrin, so he will be scoring himself 13 points versus Bedrin's 11. Bedrin will actually be extending the championship lead because Bedrin started from 12th and Max Rem started from 8th. So in actual fact, Bedrin will score 2 more points than Max Rem, will move the championship lead up to 69 points. And for Bedrin, again, showing his quality. This was the circuit that he won at in Formula 3 a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. It was definitely around here, his only victory in Formula 3. And obviously he's got brilliant speed around here, he's got plenty of experience around here. But he has really worked himself up this weekend. Safety car will be coming in this lap, and it's definitely flown its way around this lap. A minute left to go. Flynn Jacks, if he wants to get on with it, I reckon he might be able to cross line. Maybe I can call it a little bit preemptively here for the final lap. They have flown around this one. The safety car has been put through its paces, and even Flynn Jacks is not slowing things down as much as he had done previously. He brought this to a crawl on the 2 previous restarts. He is going a little bit quicker, so we should actually... I'll calm myself down. I was ready for that to be over, but actually we are going to get potentially that one final lap. And Flynn Jacks has just a little bit of time to figure out when and where he goes to build that gap up to Lucas Flusha. 20 seconds left on the clock into the final quarter. Flynn Jacks waiting even longer than previous. And now he goes. 15 seconds on the clock, counting it down. We will get one more lap. We will get one final thrilling lap at the Hungaroring. Out through the final quarter. Flynn Jacks is going to go. Lucas Flusha is close enough to potentially challenge here. It's not been quite as good in the restart as it was in the previous couple. Nikita Bedrin is right into the rear end of Max Rem as well. Across the line they go. It's Rem who will be comfortable, I think, in 4th position. Big look to the inside. He might be into 3rd. He's going to send it here on Rowan Cowell-Pilling. He feels he needs to. Straight down the inside. Cowell-Pilling off the road. Couple of bits of contact in the background as Max Rem has come through on Rowan Cowell-Pilling, who's dropped down into 4th position. And there was not the move from Nikita Bedrin. There is one car off in the background as they drop their way down into turn 2. It was one of the Ardens there. I think that might have been Leon Wilson, who was just off the road at the opening corner. Up the hill at turn 4 they go. Flynn Jacks is in position. He would want to do this in proper racing conditions, and he is doing it in racing conditions. Half a second back to Lucas Flusha, and you start to wonder where those opportunities are to pass. For Max Rem, it was a great restart up to 3rd position. Unfortunately, knocking out Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who was looking for his first podium, so he won't have a new podium finisher if everything finishes as we are currently running. Dante Vinci as well, staying close to the back of Nikita Bedrin. Molnar up in 8th position, searching for a move past Mikolev. There is a look at the number 8 of Rowan Cowell-Pilling, trying to keep close to the back of Max Rem, but that gap has certainly grown. Mikolev going to go off the road here. A couple of cars going off the road here. They are pushing it to the absolute limit at turn 11. Mikolev defending, trying to keep Molnar at bay. Behind that, you've got Fu with Baptista behind. And ahead of all of that, it'll be Flynn Jacks into the final complex of corners. He had a victory stolen away at Silverstone. It's not being stolen away this time. Flynn Jacks, 49 races it's taken him to do it, but he crosses the line to finally win in GB3. Flynn Jacks on top, ahead of Lucas Flusha and Max Rem behind. A superb race for Flynn Jacks. He got every restart perfect, the race start as well, and every lap that he was driving, he was running extremely fast. A brilliant drive from Flynn Jacks. Rowan Campbell-Pilling and Nikita Bedrin in 4th and 5th position. So for Max Rem, he might just outscore Nikita Bedrin after all of that. Don't worry too much that he's dropped down into 5th position on your timing tower on the left. As I said, there is a transponder error for Max Rem during this race, so I'm sure that one will be sorted out and he'll end up in the third position as we suspect. But a few retirements from that one: Peter Balzanellis, Q-Ho Lee, Abby Pulling and Deegan Fairclough, all unfortunate retirements from the race, but sometimes that is just how it goes. And for Flynn Jacks, I can imagine when he gets out of the car he might struggle to speak a little bit. He definitely did back in Silverstone when he had that victory taken away, and I'd say it probably isn't going to be much different here at the Hungaroring without that race victory being stolen away. Brilliant stuff there from him, and say it'll be it's one of those nice moments that we get throughout a season where you see a driver who is popular, who has been trying, who's been giving it absolutely everything for the couple of seasons that he's been racing in the GB3 Championship, finally get their reward. Everyone keeping very close on the cool down lap here, obviously driving off the line to pick up as much debris as possible. Obviously they'll have to get themselves weighed in before they're caught up by Richard Randall. Patricio Gonzalez has said, I'm pretty bored of waiting now, I'm just going to carve my way through and maybe head my way straight into the paddock area. And obviously for all these drivers there's not a long turnaround before we're racing in a week's time, of course, when we head to the Red Bull Ring for the first time in GB3. Obviously we'll have a look at the championship standings a bit later on after we've done the highlights, but I can confirm the championship lead has been cut down by 2 points. It's now 65 that Nikita Bedrin leads over Max Rem, which obviously, sure, it's a little bit of progress for him, but nothing major. Flynn Jacks is only a few points away from finding himself in the top 5 of the championship, which for a driver who has struggled at points in his GB3 career, like I say, it could be a turnaround victory from him. Into the pit lane they go, and a few drivers also following them in. Remember that we also have to have Nikita Bedrin come in as well. We'll see him on the podium he already would have got his Omologato 1 to Watch award, but I think he might have got the Sunoco fastest lap of the weekend, the fastest driver of the weekend award as well. So the Omologato 1 to Watch award I mentioned earlier in the broadcast previously this weekend, that one for the driver who scores the most points in the opening 2 races of the weekend, the qualified races. The Sunoco Fastest Driver of the Weekend award will be the one who sets the fastest lap across all 3 of the races. Let's see this reaction from Flynn Jacks. Yeah, I'm sure, do you know what? I'm sure he's exhausted after that one. And you won't find many popular winners. Probably Martin Molnar this weekend might have been a little bit more popular if he was able to steal a victory away. But at least among the contingent that race in GB3, Flynn Jacks will be a popular driver and a popular winner. Obviously, a little bit of debrief happening for a couple of our drivers before they get themselves weighed in and then interviewed. Flynn Jacks already straight off to go and have that one done. Obviously, got to grab his photographs. Not a date he will forget. And it was looking at his eyes back in Silverstone. You could kind of see the pain and frustration. But for his first podium, because he even said in the interview then, he said that it's a tough one because he shouldn't be disappointed with getting his first podium. He should be happy with getting his first podium, but getting that close to a victory and not getting it is a tough one. So to finally have it, and to have earned it as well. I know there was 3 safety cars in that race, and you might think, well, quite a lot of that race, most of that race, in fact, was done under safety car. But I said before, even in previous seasons, when we've had a few safety car interventions in race 3s, where sometimes people say, well, it's not quite as worthy as a race 1 or a race 2 or winning straight up. It's one of those things, you still have to nail the important things. You've still got to nail the race start. You've still got to nail all of those race restarts. And Jacks did. Max Rem also did. He's made the most of a weekend which has been a little bit troublesome for him. Obviously had the retirement in yesterday's race, but still 2 podiums from the 2 races he was able to finish this weekend. Lucas Fluscher also with a turnaround weekend. 5th, 3rd and 2nd. Basically up there all the time so far this weekend. Couldn't quite have the pace to challenge that driver there, but still it was an epic performance from Lucas Fluscher, who is now, by the way, 3rd in the championship for the XL Motorsports team. He has used that 2nd place to jump hometown hero Martin Molnar and head up into the top 3 of the championship. For Flynn Jacks, it'll be 6th. We'll update you again with the provisional championship standings a little bit later on. We'll head down to Richard Randall to catch up with our top 3.
Flynn, congratulations. You, after all of that, are a GB3 race winner. How does that finally feel?
I'm so happy. Yeah. I remember the heartbreak from Silverstone, and then misfortunes from Spa. Had a technical issue in quali. So it's nice to be here, especially we started the weekend on the back foot, just struggling, honestly. But in the end, we found something.
Talk us through that race, because you'd have liked to have had a straightforward win, but you had a race start, 3 safety car restarts. You aced every single safety car restart. You had a massive margin. Were you tempted at the end to just crawl across the line and take it, or did you just want to do it in proper style, in a really good way?
Honestly, I'm not too proud to admit my own mistakes, but honestly, I wasn't really counting the time in the car. So when I came across the line, I saw 5 seconds. I thought to myself, oh well, but I had the pace to continue. So yeah.
A lot of pressure on you though with all those safety car restarts. How did you handle that?
Felt quite good. I just went off intuition and it seemed to work out for me every time.
You seem like a very different driver this year, Flynn. What's been the secret, and where can you go from here?
A lot of weight loss. Honestly, when I came in here last year, I was just hoping to keep a dream alive, and I came into this last year weighing 13 kilos more than I do now, and that was caused due to an injury at the end of 2024. So as I healed, I got better and I lost a lot of weight, and with that comes pace. It's always been there, it's just I had a factor holding me back.
Well, it sounds like all the hard work has paid off. Well done, enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you.
We'll move on to second place now, Lucas Flixer. Lucas, basically a carbon copy repeat there of race 2. You managed to go from 7th on the grid to the podium. You did that in race 2 as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a good race. Amazing start. Like before, just went from P7 to P3 by T1. So yeah, definitely got the jump. Good starts. Yeah, and then just try to manage. We managed to get Dante in the first restart into P2. And from there, yeah, it was just managing the tyres and just surviving.
2 podiums in 1 race weekend. That's by far your best set of results in GB3. How do you feel about the season so far?
I feel good. I feel the same as always. We still have to keep working. You know, we're not bad place in the championship, and we just have to keep working with the team how we've been doing for the moment. And yeah, let's see what we can do in the next rounds.
Well, it sounds like a very promising year ahead. It's still coming up for you. All the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
And finally, we move to Maxim Rem. Maxim, that's a fantastic way to make up for a disappointment in race 2.
Yeah, I think it was a nice feeling to be back on the podium again after it got taken away from us in the second one. I mean, we would have had a clean sweep this weekend with podiums if it wasn't for that engine problem. But I think we've shown our strength. I think shown that we are plenty fast enough to win. So I hope we can take this to Silverstone and perform there again and catch up some points to Bedron.
It wasn't a race without drama. It looks like a bit of a drama down at turn 1 on the first lap. How did you manage to survive that?
I felt someone lifting up my rear crash box. I think someone hit me, but luckily I didn't have any damage, and I continued. But I think it was just generally a very messy race. I guess it's almost for reverse grids. But I think I just stayed calm and waited for the right opportunities, and we somehow managed to finish P3 again.
Yeah, you've gone from P8 on the grid as well, so you really had to fight for it.
Yeah, yesterday we started P9 to P3, today P8 to P3, so I think it's not too bad. I think I've shown I can overtake.
You've shown you can overtake. I suppose the secret now is to try and qualify right at the front of the grid and then see what you can do from there.
Yes, hopefully we can get the same quali performances like in Spa or Silverstone for the next race. I think we've just struggled the whole testing. I'm lucky we found the pace for the races. I think that's we get the points now. So yeah, I'm still quite happy with the weekend.
What a fantastic weekend for you. Go and enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
And we'll hand back now to Lewis for the podium.
Highlights from round 9 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. It was a good start from Flynn Jacks on the race down to the opening corner, with a big look coming in from the hill speed of Dante Vinci. Behind all that was where the drama was. Unfortunately, Deegan Fairclough into the rear end of Abby Pulling, causing retirement for the pair of them into the opening turn. Flynn Jacks, though, was holding firm at the front of the field. Everyone behind, though, that was where the queuing up was happening. It was a good start from Lucas Fluscher. It was a Great attack coming in from Nikita Bedrin down the inside of Mikolev, who would drop down the order. An unfortunate late crash coming in from Kyu-Ho Lee, who saw him out of the race, and very unfortunate retirement. That would cause a safety car, but we'd have one more lap of racing. A perfect restart from Flynn Jacks, and then aggressive moves into the opening couple of complexes of corners from a few of our drivers. Aurelia Nobel into her teammate, unfortunately the opening corner causing another safety car, but for Flynn Jacks it was a perfect race. He would cross the line to win for the first time in GB3. We'll take a look at the provisional race results with Flynn Jacks at the front, Lucas Fluscher in second, and Maxime Rem in third place on the results. Of course, for Jacks being a superb winner, there by a second and a bit over Lucas Fluscher. Maxime Rem in third, with Rowan Campbell-Pilling in fourth. Nikita Bedrin would round out the top five, the Italian up there as well. We'll see him on the podium for the Sunoco Fast Driver of the Weekend award. Then it's Dante Vinci, Jacob Mikolev and Martin Molnar, who dropped down to the back on the opening of the race and was able to work his way back up to 8. Then it's Yu Haofu and Ricardo Baptista in 10th position. Again, the Brazilian there looking pretty good for the XL team that sees two cars in the top 5. Rodrigo Gonzalez in 11th position ahead of Lewis Gilbert and Leon Wilson, the Arden duo, who have struggled this weekend. Patricio Gonzalez down to 14th, and Aurelia Nobels was able to cross the line. 4 retirements in Bowes Nellis, Lee, Pulling and Fairclough. And for the championship, this is how it looks. 222 points for Nikita Bedrin, 65 clear of Maxime Rem at the top of the championship. Lucas Fluscher moving up to third in a tighter race with Molnar and Jin Nakamura, the top 5. Behind that, we've got Flynn Jacks, who's moved up to 6th with Patricio Gonzalez, Abby Pulling, Rowan Campbell-Pilling and Deegan Fairclough with another retirement. A very unfortunate season for Deegan Fairclough so far. It's been a fascinating run through the 2026 season so far, but Nikita Bedrin has been the driver who's been looking better and better as the season goes on, and the fact that a reverse grid race nets him 5th position and the solid points that goes with it, he has been almost the unstoppable force here in the GB3 Championship. For the likes of Max Rem, just not quite there enough this weekend. Third and a third, obviously the retirement, he couldn't do anything about that in race 2 of the weekend. We'll see him onto the podium in just a few moments' time once they're all ready to go, along with Fluscher and Jacks. Great to hear that Jacks was very happy. He didn't quite look as emotional as he was a few weeks ago back in Silverstone, but to take that victory, it was obviously interesting to hear him not timing the race at the end. He was just going with the flow and seeing how it took him. If it was a checker flag, it was a checker flag. If there was a couple of seconds left to go, then so be it. So the podium is ready, and we are ready to introduce them. Maxime Rem will be the first to be introduced. His 5th podium of the season. Obviously had a couple back in 2025, and for Maxime Rem, it has been an up and down season. He's had a lot of consistency. He only had 1 retirement so far this season, and we know those retirements will come, and that's one of the things. Nikita Bedrin is yet to get one this season. There's Maxime Rem, the German, who will take to the 3rd step of the podium. Then into 2nd position is Lucas Fluscher, his 2nd podium of the weekend, 3rd of the season, and onto the top step of the podium it is, of course, Flynn Jacks, his 2nd podium of the season. Such an impressive performance.
And here come the trophies. First of all, the 3rd position driver, Maxime Rem. And then the 2nd position driver, Lucas Fluscher. And our winner, Flynn Jacks. And we would like to ask some patience from you guys, just do some photos, because we have one more trophy, one more award, which is the best lap time of the weekend, which is coming to Nikita Bedrin, and he gets the trophy for the Santo. This is the Santo Award, the best lap time of the weekend. So 4 of our best drivers now on the podium. We would like to get some photos together and then some celebrations.
And look to the front again. Squeeze it. Where? Look forward first.
All three of the races, not from qualifying. Just to clarify that one, if anyone was wondering, it has to be an in-race lap. So the quartet will climb their way off the podium in just a second. I'm sure we'll get some bubbles sprayed around. Nikita Bedrin might bail his way from it and make a quick exit stage left. Off he goes, goodbye, as the trio on the podium will get themselves ready to spray the bubbles around and, of course, cover the team that stand below them on the podium, an iconic podium which they know a whole host of some of the biggest names in motorsport have stood upon. Got a week to get those dry cleaned. Obviously Flynn Jacks getting covered there. Superb performance from Flynn Jacks in this race, and a really entertaining weekend. Troublesome to overtake, but the Hungaroring always delivers at least some entertainment, some action and some drama. What are we going to get in a week's time when we go racing at the Red Bull Ring for the very first time in GB3? It is an iconic track in the Styrian Mountains, such a perfect and picturesque spot for us to go racing. The first race, of course, on the 11th of July before we have the two races and that all-important reverse grid race in round 12 on the Sunday, which I think is going to be absolutely epic. There's such place to overtake around the Red Bull Ring, such bravery ready for the drivers ahead of them, and such a different test for them to take on GB3's newest venture abroad, and of course a double-header weekend here as well. So until then, thank you so much for joining us here at the Hungaroring for the GB3 Championship. We've had plenty of twists and turns in the championship, and we'll be ready to do it all over again in a week's time when we head to the Red Bull Ring.